So if people say, object-oriented programming if they say today, object-oriented programming works great for software architecture, what they usually mean is something else. What they're usually not doing object-oriented programming, but they're doing something else. And a lot of the things that are relevant in modern software architecture are not directly related to object-oriented programming. So where I'm at, a lot of people practice something called domain-driven design. Domain-driven design is mostly, the way it's being applied at least, is mostly about sort of structuring sort of the large-scale structure of a software system and splitting it into parts so that you can then design the parts using very effective mechanisms that are sort of on the human side of software engineering, because you need that structure to match the team structure that you have. So domain-driven design, highly recommend it, that you check it out. On the other hand, there's this other half in that in order to match the grand design that you came up with in domain-driven design, you need to close the gap between that and the implementation. Domain-driven design contains something called tactical domain-driven design, which is a lot more vague than the strategic design. And there, the fundamental idea is that you distinguish between things called value objects and entities, and a couple more things. So there's a sort of technical taxonomy of distinguishing between different kinds of things, right? Entities are things with state, value objects are descriptive things. And that discipline is not very effective, I would argue, and it's not object-oriented programming, right? It's something else. It is tactical domain-driven design. And where it's unfortunately, what's really been lost in that shuffle and the transition from object-oriented analysis and object-oriented design to domain-driven design and tactical domain-driven design, insofar it's being even applied, is that as a software development community, we no longer know how to structure data. And that seems, your eyebrows go up, right? How is it possible, right? It wasn't computing called data processing, in the 80s, and so on. So, or maybe to put that on its head, and maybe to formulate it in more positive ways, right? So the way that I like to think about functional programming and functional software architecture is that it's really programming with data.